All right, welcome back. Good evening, everyone, to our third day of the UI UX Design Bootcamp here at Loctech. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I remain your one and only UI UX Design instructor, Olent Gold Asinobi, a UI UX Design instructor here at Loctech. So we've covered a lot of ground. We've gone so far, and we are heading fast and forward into our project. So for those of you that missed our previous videos, the one of yesterday and one of Monday, you can always subscribe and check out our YouTube channel or Facebook page, and you can gain access to all this helpful content. And also remember to hit the subscribe button so that and turn on your notifications so that you can always get notified when we drop more educative content like this. So for those of us that were here yesterday, and those of you that missed, what we covered was the topic of colors, working with typography, text, importing of pictures, and we also learned how to work with plugins like on Splash, most especially for the sake of pictures. And then we also talked about how to create auto layouts. Yes, we capped everything all up with the interesting design of creating an Instagram friend suggestion card. So just like a quick reminder, our project and our main aim for this bootcamp is to create and prototype the Instagram login, sign up, and home screen. Yes, so each step of this course is going to take us in that direction. All right, so I'm going to switch over now to my Figma environment and show us what we have for today. All right, so I know this might seem a little bit familiar to all we all know. Yes, for those of you that know, this is the Instagram home page. Now, don't worry, we haven't designed this yet, but this is what our target is going to be for today. So now you can see that it's looking more realistic and more like the way the Instagram we all know looks, right? So today we're going to be covering first how to achieve vertical scrollings just like this. We'll also cover how to achieve horizontal scrollings for our home page just like this, and this as well. You can see this is the work of our friend suggestion card that we created yesterday. And then to cap it all up, we're going to also learn how to create animated buttons just like this animated like button over here. As you can see, I will like, and you see the animations that it comes with, as well as this also the bookmarking or the save post animated button. So that is what we are going to learn for today. I'm really excited to teach you guys, and I'm sure you guys are also as excited as I am. So without wasting much time, I'm going to jump into my design environment. All right, so that was the presentation. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. So for today, like I said, we're going to start putting up some pieces one by one of our Instagram home page. Starting up, we'll start from where we left off yesterday. As you guys can remember, our plan yesterday was to design a friend suggestion card as well as an Instagram post design, just like this. So we're going to be starting with that. We're going to design this Instagram post, and I'll walk you guys through the process of creating it from scratch. All right, so let's get started. The very first step, I'm going to create a long rectangle just like this. I think I used a dimension of 430 pixels wide by 601 pixels high, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Select my rectangle tool and I'll draw. So you see that I'm not going to hold shift because I'm not trying to achieve a square, but rather I'm trying to achieve a rectangle. So a rectangle doesn't have equal sides all around, so you don't have to worry yourself about shift. So I'll just come down to my dimensions and manually input 430 by 601. There, I think it's looking good. Then I'm going to import this picture into this rectangle. I'm going to import next into this rectangle, like you see here, a picture of, I think this is our fan favorite Lamin Yamal. All right, I told you guys how to work with pictures. So I'll switch to the fill tool, and then on our fill tool, you see I have solid fill, gradient fill, and image. So I'll click on the image to upload an image. Click on it to upload a picture from my system. So I think I have it here. Yes, Lamine Yamal wallpaper. I'll click on open, and it has come in just like so. All right. So we've gotten the first step out of the way. The next step is to create some text that we have here. I'm sure you guys can be wondering where these icons are coming from. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how to create it in a bit. But before we work with external tools in Figma, I would like us to finish everything internal, then we start working on the external bodies. All right. So the next step is to create this type text box that you see here, just like this. So I'm going to select my type tool and type 78,283 views. All right. So remember what I told you guys about text hierarchy yesterday. I'm going to increase my font style, make it a little bit thicker, make it semi bold. I think that's good. Next, I will draw another text box. Nope. Instead of creating an artistic text box, I think I'd rather draw a paragraph text box. So I'm going to do that like so. And I'm going to type now. Okay. Now, I'm sure you guys must be wondering, what am I typing? This is in no way related to the picture here. Well, for the sake of this class, we don't have that much time to be paying attention to much detail. So sorry about that, guys, but our text might be a little bit off from the image. But the main goal here is just to learn how to create an Instagram post. So let's not just get carried away by the text under my post. So let us move on. So I'm going to extend this this text box a little bit. Now, we see that this match chain is supposed to be like the header or like the main focus, because this is the supposed some person that dropped this comment. So I am going to make this match chain a little bit distinguished from the rest of the text. So by doing so, I have to drop the layer style, the text style, from semi-bold to I think regular serves it, and then I'll change it from a title case to as typed. Exactly. Okay. So that being done, we move on. Next, I think I have a more, okay, there's my more button. For some reason, it jumped, but it's not going to jump this time around. So let me select the text tool once again and I'll press more. Yeah. So now you can see that the more is a little bit faded than the rest of the text. So that is just an easy fit. First off, I'm going to make it as typed, and then I'll change the color to a slightly light gray. Yeah, something like this. And then I'll change the style from semi-bold to regular as well. That's looking good. I'll take it up to meet the rest of the text. We're going to worry about the alignment in a bit, but let's just get everything in place first. So seeing that the view all comments and the more are actually of the same make, I don't need to create a new text box. All I'm going to do is just duplicate this guy. So in case you've forgotten, I'm holding down the Alt key on my keyboard, or the Option key if you're using a Mac, to duplicate. So you hold down Alt, left click and drag, and I'm going to type view all comments. There you have it, like so. I think the first letter is supposed to be in capital letters. All right. Then I'll duplicate it once more to create the time. 27 minutes ago. That's very recent. Okay. Now that's looking really, really good and really nice. So I'm going to just adjust the sizing between these two guys. Um, I don't want it to be too further apart. So you see a really cool feature that Figma has that allows you to see the sizing between elements in your artboard is to hold down all the alternate key and then hover above the another element so that you can see the distance between those two. It's a pretty neat field function. So you can see those red lines there. It's really, really helpful. So I think I'll increase these guys upward a bit. This looks good. So I'm gonna make these guys to be on the same alignment at the bottom, and then I'll group it, Control G, to make sure that they are one instead of being two. Then all these ones, I will also align them to the left and then group it as well, Control G. Okay, so now it's starting to look in place. So one last thing I have to do before we start talking about importing these icons, I have to add the text 1175 likes and the comments. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Create another artistic text box 1175, then one more, four. Yeah, I think that does it. All right. So now we move on to the first external guest of today, a plugin. So I told you guys about, we talked about plugins yesterday. Yeah, we got introduced to the plugin on Splash that we said was good for getting free pictures from the internet. Now there's another plugin yet again I want to introduce you guys. So like I said, there are lots of plugins on Figma. So this plugin is called Iconify, and I use them to get SVG icons. Yes, SVG meaning that when it comes, you can always edit it like a shape. All right. So before I get my like icon, because this like icon is actually going to be special, so I'm not going to get him yet. Okay, I think I'll just get him at once for the sake of getting it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll get my icons with shortcuts, right click on your artboard and click on plugins and say manage plugins. So under my manage plugins, you can choose to search for Iconify, which is this because I've saved them before. So I'm just going to click on it, but you just come to your search bar and type Iconify, spell it out. This is the logo, and you know that you're on track. So I'll click on it just like that, and it's going to run in my Figma environment. So I'm just going to give it a little time to pop up, and there we have it. Okay, so now Iconify has come out, and Iconify, like I said, is a very, very helpful tool to get SVG icons. So all you have to do, you don't have to worry about adding icon to the name of what you're looking for. Iconify knows that you're looking for icons. So you just go there and head up straight and describe the icon you're looking for. So let's say this looks like the like button. You can also call it favorite. So let's say like. Like. You see, I didn't have to add icon at the back. Well, okay, it's giving us the default like button of a thumbs up. It's not actually giving me what I want. So I'm going to change my keyword now from like to favorite. Yeah, you see that this is one that Iconify is mostly used to. So I think this is one I used here. So I'm just going to click on it and say import as frame. There you have it. As you can see, automatically it pops in to my background. So before I close this tab, I'm going to get the rest of the icons, comment and send. I think that should be sent. So let me change this to comments. Okay. Let's see which of these looks like the one I used here. Hmm. For some reason, the second page is not loading. Well, that means we're going to change our type to comment. Yeah. Okay. So I think the problem was that I used comments plural instead of comment, which is supposed to be singular. So I'm just going to scroll down to get the one that looks as closely related to this as possible. Well, even if we can't see it, we can just make do with what we have for the sake of time. So I'm just going to click on the first guy that comes into my eye. I think it's this guy. I'll import him as a frame, just like so. And you see that we've gotten two of them. Let me bring it out so that you can see. The next is the send or share button. Let me try send. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so I think this looks like it, although I'll have to rotate it, but that's not a problem. Let me just go with this guy. Yeah, send. Good, we're getting there. And lastly, save or bookmark. Let's try save. Nope, not save. Bookmark. Exactly. So I'm going to choose this one. I think this looks most likely to be the perfect fit. And there we go. We've gotten four good looking icons for our project. So you see that working with Iconify is very, very easy. All that matters is just creating the right, using the right keyword to describe the icon you're looking for. So once you're not getting it right, just change your keyword and you get there on time. So I'm going to close this my Iconify tab and I will work with the icon. So this my like button and my bookmark or save button, they are actually special guests. There's something special about them. They're going to serve as animated buttons. So I'm going to put them aside for the meantime. I'll work with these guys that are not so special. Not that they're not special, but there's nothing special about them. So just work with them for now. So I'm bringing them out of the frames that they come with, like so that they're going to be free agents. Then, seeing that they are both black, I can select them both together and change their stroke from black to white. There. Then I think I'll rotate this send icon to look something like the one we have there. And this one, I'll right click to flip it horizontally. Yes. So it's looking nice. I'm going to put this guy in place. It's supposed to be here. So we need to take note. Okay, his dimensions are 18 pixels wide and 18 pixels high. I'll lock it so that they won't get distorted when I'm resizing it. Okay, good. You don't have to worry about alignment for now because we are just going to sort everything out in a bit. So I'll select these to align them to the vertical centers, and yeah, put them in place. Hold Alt to reduce the spacing. Five seems good enough. I'll group it, and then make sure that all three are vertically aligned to the centers. Even if this guy is looking a little bit off. Okay, so now speaking on our special guest, that brings us to the next important topic, animations. So animations is going to be the next topic we'll talk about before completing our Instagram post, because every other thing is practically the same. We know how to add a picture to a shape and we know how to create gradient stroke, but we'll do it in class here, so don't worry about that. But first, we need to create a component. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a component. But before we do that, we've come so far, we've covered a lot. So I'm going to give us a 5-minute break for questions. So anybody that have questions, just feel free, drop your questions in the comment box and I'll respond and I'll reply it to you immediately. So let's get started. Drop your questions and I'll respond to you at once. All right, welcome back. I think I have seen some questions here. Someone asked the question, how do we bring the icon out? So let me just quickly go over to Figma and answer that question before we move on. So your icons come inside a small box-like frame, right? Yeah, and that frame can cause some problems at times. So what you do, you just have to double click on the icon. Make sure that your selection is marking exactly the icon. Make sure that it's not marking like a box outside it. So just double click on the icon until you see that the icon itself is selected. So once that is done, just click the icon and drag it out of the frame. It's as easy as that. Mine won't show now because I've already removed it from the frame. But when you select it, just make sure that your selection is showing this way. Make sure that it's showing this way. It's not showing in a box like that. If it's showing in a box, then you know that it's still inside a frame. So I believe I've answered that question. So without wasting much time, we're moving on to the next topic. Like I said, the topic of components and animations. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to create one, which is the like button. I don't have to repeat the same process for the bookmark button because it's actually the same thing. So just pay attention because it's only this like button that I'll be animating for us today. The same button, I'm just going to use the already made components that I have. Okay, so let me take this guy out. The topic of animations is actually very broad. The topic of working with components is also broad as well. And like every other thing that I've said here earlier on, we cannot cover it all in this bootcamp. So please and please don't be offended if my explanation seems a bit shallow because I won't have the time to explain much in depth. So if you want to learn more, feel free to, and you can always enroll for the UI UX design course at Loctech, and you'll get to know more about all these topics. So that being said, I'm just quickly going to talk about this component. So first off, for you to create an animated button, you have to make this your button a component. So components are reusable elements that you can use over and over again in a particular design. So that means these are like buttons. We can't count how many times or how many like buttons that we're going to have in Instagram. It's going to run into hundreds or thousands. So you don't want to be repeating this process over and over again. So that's where components comes in. So when you create the first one, the original, then all you have to do is just to copy and paste, and it still carries the exact same characteristics. Okay, so that being said, we're going to convert this guy into a component, and to do so, select the icon, and then I'll move over to, let me select the icon, to the first tab here. On my vector path, you see the next option is create component. It looks like four diamonds or circles placed diagonally against each other. So click on it, and then you should see that your outline changes from a light blue box to purple, just like this. So this shows that we are having a component right here. So the next thing you have to do is to create an instance of this component. So meaning that you want to duplicate it. So this is the father component, but we're creating an instance which will be the child. And to do that, we have to add property. So locate your add property, which should appear under the vector. Add property in the properties panel. You see the plus sign, click on that plus, you see variant. So add a variant. So I'm clicking once, and now this box has come out automatically. So this box has shown you that okay, you want to create a family out of this particular icon. This particular one, we want to create a family. So that's what this box indicates. So every other one that I'll add inside is a family of this. So I'm going to create 3 extra variants of this because we are going to have a press down state, the release state, and the final state, which will be the like button. Then I will go further to create 3 more, which would reverse the same process. Now I know what I'm saying might sound a little bit confusing, but you will understand it in a bit. So I'll first create the first 3. 1 by clicking on the plus, 2, 3. I'll zoom out so that we can see what we're working with. 4, 1, 2, 3. There you have it. So all together you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different icons of the same parent. So once you have 7, you know you're on the right track. So my first icon, I'm going to change the name from default to inactive. So how do I change the name? Click on it, you go to the property and change it from default. Click on that default there. It will now make it editable. So I'll change it to inactive so I can understand it better. The next one is going to be the pressed down state. So I will make it a lot smaller, a little bit smaller. So I'll hold shift and alt and scale it down a little bit. Okay, I think this from 16, 18 down to 16, 14, 16. No, let's say 14. 14 looks okay. So then I'll change this from variant 2 to pressed down. Okay, then this is going to be the bounce or the release where it's going to like bounce a little bit. So I'll increase it from 20 to, let's say, let me increase this guy from 20 to 20. Okay, let me lock it. Control Z. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I'll repeat that again. Okay, so 20, I'll lock it. Then I'll zoom out. Nope. Let's say I'll make it a size of 24. Yeah, 24 seems good to me. Exactly. 24. Then this one is going to be the exact same size as the original, so it won't change. So I'm going to increase this smaller one a little bit. That's 14. It seems way off. So I'll increase it from 14 to hold shift. Nope. 14 to 16. Yep. I think this can be a little bit tricky sometimes. You don't want to make it too much. You don't want to make it too little. Yes, 16. Okay, so remember, hold shift and alt so that it doesn't scale out of proportion. I'll scale this one down as well from 20 to 16. Exactly. Then this should be 24. No, 26, 20. Exactly. Okay, so now we've gotten our different states. I'm going to explain what this means in a bit. So please just follow up with me. So I'm going to now start changing the colors. So first off, it's going to start out white with a white stroke from black. Let me click on this selection colors from black to white. Okay. Then the next one is going to be red. So I want it to have a red. So this time around, you see that it's inside in my field is showing white. So please don't touch this white because it's actually black. The white that you're seeing there is actually the fill of your frame. When you added a component, it automatically adds your icon inside the frame. So this white that you're seeing is the fill of the frame, which is set to be invisible at the moment. That's why you can't see it. So if you click on that fill, you're changing the frame. So all you have to do is to click twice on the shape or look for it in the layers panel, which is actually this guy um, that has been selected. I'll click the drop down and click on the vector. So now you see that it has no fill again. So I'll go ahead to give it a fill of red. I'll give it a stroke color, change the stroke color from black to red as well. Okay, so I'll repeat the same process for all the others. This is going to be the bouncy state again. Drop down vector, change from black to red, white to red, red as well. And then the final state. Oh, it appears we didn't change the names of all the other vectors, but no worries. Let's just keep on moving for the sake of our time. Black to red, black to red. There. So we've gotten our first state. You click down, it's small, it shrinks to a smaller size, bounces up, and then returns to the original size. That's the goal. That's the animation. The original state is now changed to red. So what if someone wants to unlike what you have liked? So the animation repeats itself again, but this time around, instead of transitioning from white to red, it transitions from red back to white. So what I have to do is to now click on this guy, change the color from black to white, just like so. Black to white, black to white. Exactly. So now we've gotten all our components. Now we've gotten all our components, we need to start adding the animations. So the animations, it comes with a package of prototyping. We might not be able to cover all the aspects of prototyping today, so I'm just going to cover an aspect that affects animations and components. So all I have to do is select the very first child, firstborn of this family, and move over to my prototype panel, which is beside the design button. There you have it. So now you see that once I do that, if I hover above my shape, being in the prototype panel, I can see some circles that comes out on the edges, top, right, bottom, and left. So those are to create connection nodes. So all you have to do is just click on one of them to create a link. So I'm going to link this guy up from this to the next. And then this small dialog box comes out to explain the interaction. Now, I might not have the time to explain all of them in detail, but all you have to know is that this explains the trigger, what makes your icon change. What do you have to do? The trigger is going to be on click, so it means your user will have to click. Then the next action is to change to, so that means it's going to change to this one. And then the animation, just leave it at property, the animation will change it to smart animate. And then I'll reduce the animation time all the way down to 100 milliseconds and enter. Okay, so then from this, I'm not going to put it on click this time around. I'll change it, instead of being on click, I'll change it to after delay. So you don't have to click twice. I'll reduce the time all the way down to 0.5 milliseconds. I know it will automatically round it up to 1. That's fine. Smart animate, I'll change it from ease out to bouncy. Okay, that seems good for me. Then from this, I'll repeat the exact same properties of the previous. After delay, 0.5, smart animate, bouncy, and 100 milliseconds. There. Okay, I hope the previous one was still at 100. Okay, let me change it down to 100. There you go. Then from this, okay, so now the next is going to be click again. I'll repeat the same prototyping process. On click, change to smart animate, bouncy. Good. Then this will be after delay, 0.5. Press enter. Change to smart animate, bouncy, 100. Good. Then this should be this after delay as well, 0.5. Smart animate, bouncy, 100 as well. Then this will be the final product. So after a while, I want it to change back to the original so that the process can be repeated again. All right, so not on click, but after delay, 0.5. Okay, instance, and there we go. So now we've created our component. So now that that is done, I'm going to show you guys how to import your component. I'll switch back to my design panel, move this guy away. So this is not the one I'm going to use. I'm going to use an instance of it to add as my like button. So I'll put this guy in place, and then I'll go back to my assets panel beside the file. You see under my local components, local assets, we have one component. You see the file vector, which happens to be my like button. So all I have to do is just click and drag There we go. So now if I prototype this, which we're going to do in a subsequent class, we will see our animation come to life. But for the sake of time, we don't have to view it now. It's going to be a surprise in the future. So we're going to see our animation in live action. So for now, let's just work with what we have, our design. So I'll keep the spacing even, reduce it down to 5. Okay, select this with this Control G to group, and then I'll select all three and group them as well. Control G. So I'll make sure the space is a little bit even, space of 10. Okay, that seems fair enough. Align them to the left and Control G again. Okay, so now that that's done, so I'm going to move this guy down to this. All right. So now the last thing that we're going to be doing today on this, sorry, not today, on this frame in Instagram post is to create this profile image. So what I'm going to do is to draw a circle. So draw a circle. I'll select my circle tool under the toolbox. Hold down Shift, remember. Hold down Shift. Then I'll fill it with an image, this image. So I'm going to, okay, let me make sure that the size is actually the same so that I won't deviate much. This is 47 by 46. That's wrong. This is 60 by 65 by 6. So I'm going to drop this down to 47. Okay. All right. So I'll fill it with a picture. Go to fill image, upload from computer, and then I'll select this guy. Okay, so I'll change it from fill to crop to adjust this the positioning or the appearance. I think this looks good. There we go. Then I'm going to give it a stroke of about 4. I think that 4 is big enough. I'll take it a bit closer so that I can work with it. I'll change my stroke from inside to outside. Then how to give the colors. So click on the stroke panel. Let me drag this away. So click on the stroke panel, then move over to gradient. I'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. We have the first color purple, the second color red, the next color is orange, and the final color is yellow. I think that's actually the 4 main colors of Instagram. So we have 2. I'm adding 2 more. 1, 2. Okay. So the first color, which is black, I'll select my eyedropper tool to pick this purple there. Next color, which is red, eyedropper tool again, pick this red. Good. Next color, orange, eyedropper tool again, pick the orange. And the final color, which will be yellow, pick it for the last one. There you go. So now I'm going to just adjust my slider a little bit to fit in the direction. Okay. Then I will adjust the spacing between them to get the right positioning. Okay, I think this is looking good already. Nice, nice. So now we've done our copying. We can now move back to our design. Top. Then the name. Remember what I said about headings and subheading. Name is the heading, most important, then the body text, not as important, but important as well. So that's why the name is the obvious, the biggest one among them. So I'll select my type tool. I'm going to create artistic type tool this time. Oluwamesi. Wa Mercy. See? Okay. Then I'll give it size 14 and semi bold, I think, or bold this time around. I think it's bold. Yeah, bold does it. So I'll duplicate, holding Alt. Don't worry, I'll change the properties in a bit. Dot original. Okay, so now to change the properties, I'll reduce it from 14 all the way down to 11. Then I'll change it from bold to regular. I think 11 is still too big. Let's say 10. There we go. Okay, so I'll group them together again. Control G. And then to create this small three dots, the more icon. So I'm going to do that. I'll zoom in real close because the circles I'm about to create are going to be tiny. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll just create some circles, tiny circles. Hold shift to achieve a perfect circle there. Select it, let it be white, a feel of pure white. All right, then I'm going to duplicate it. Alt, hold shift, hold shift, and drag, and Control D again to repeat the same process. So I'll select it, make sure they are properly aligned, and Control G to group them together. So I think they are tiny enough. Yeah, the size is okay. So I'll select these two, nope, all three. Make sure they are all aligned to the center. And then I'll select this guy and think shift it inwards a bit. Control G to group them all together. Okay, so I think we're all set. For the sake of my save, I'm just going to put it in there for the meantime. I'll animate it at my own time. For the sake of time, in our case, I'll brush this up to white. So I think everything is looking well and in place. So I'll just group these guys, Control G. I'll select them all to round it all off, and then I'll create an auto layout. Shift A. So to create auto layout, this will help you to adjust your tools accordingly. I'll change the arrangements to center align so that we are going to have space on the left and the right. So there you have it. Our Instagram post is as complete and is looking good to go. So if you have any question, again, feel free to drop in the comments. The process was very sweet, interesting, and fun. We repeated and worked with what we had, what we did yesterday, and we moved on with it. So as you can see, our Instagram homepage is coming to life. Every other thing here is pretty easy to make. So tomorrow we are going to be working on creating the prototype and the scrolling options and all of that. We're also going to talk about the login screen and the sign up screen as well as the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen. So this is how far we can go for today, the day three of our bootcamp. We've covered a lot today. We built on what we talked about yesterday. We've created a social media, an Instagram post to be precise. We talked about how to import more icons working with the plugin Iconify. We also talked about how to create animations with an animated button, animated like button. Although we didn't get to see how it's going to function in live, but we'll see that in a later course in a subsequent video. Yes, so if you really want to see everything that we're doing here come to life, make sure to stay tuned and hold on to the end of this our bootcamp, and you're going to see the product of our process and our work. So this is where we're going to call it a day for today. It was really fun. Again, remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications to get more informative, interesting content and educative content as this one. See you again next time tomorrow. Drop any questions that you might have in the comment section, and I'll be there to answer it in our next class. Okay, once again, this is me, Olen Sasinobi. Remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications. So bye for now.